It's the weekend!
Warriors! Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Warriors! Come on to play!
Yeah! Here we go!
Good Saturday morning, everybody. We are broadcasting live from the Harmon Solar Studios in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm Ralph Romano, alongside my partner in crime, the legend, Neil Lynch, and this is the Weekend Warriors.
On this episode, we're going to talk about the Kentucky Derby, because apparently it's Derby Day. Then we're going to talk about, my visit to Chase Field for the Dodgers-Diamondbacks series, and some observations and some rants there. And then we're going to talk about the top 3 all-time NFL draft busts, because, you know, it's always fun to talk about the NFL all year round.
Yes.
And then whatever else we feel like talking about today.
Our grab bag.
The grab bag.
We're gonna
The
do a
bag,
grab bag.
the bag of grab. So I am looking forward to this first segment today.
Are you?
Because I remember growing up, you and your dad, well, I mean, I'm sure it was all part of the business and stuff, but yeah, you lived at the racetrack.
Part of the business. What does that mean?
Well,
so are you saying that we were like
Mafia?
mafia? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
No. It wasn't. Well, we know what
Part of the business.
we know what business.
Killing
right?
people and betting on horses. That's what we did.
Well, you said it, not me. Anyway, no, I meant the other stuff. But
Right.
But so this is good that you're going to educate me today, because I've been to one racetrack in my life. I was
Really?
like 9 years old. My dad took me to Santa Anita.
Oh.
And I remember betting. The only bet I made, and this is ironic now, I bet on a horse called Brown Eyes. Now, if
Brown Eyes.
8-year-old Neil or 9-year-old Neil understood the double entendre or the implications of that name, I would not have bet on that horse. But I just
And-
thought, oh, the horse has brown eyes, so
All right, so it's time to educate you. So today is the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby.
wow, that's a lot.
It's a few.
That's a lot.
So in Kentucky, they do things a little different, right?
Like what do you mean?
Well, some of the things I can't talk
Now,
about.
be careful. My family on my mom's side is from Kentucky, so you might be hitting close to home with some
All
of
right,
these
well,
comments.
The Kentucky Derby, it's been held on the first Saturday of May since 1931. Think about that.
Wow.
That's pretty-
I just thought about it. It's amazing. Now, hang on. Where is it held? To me,
Churchill Downs in Kentucky, Kentucky.
to me that's as fascinating as the race itself is the venue.
The Churchill Downs is the one. So Churchill Downs is the racetrack. It's a 1.25 mile race that we have every year, and it's the first race of what they call the Triple Crown, and we'll get into that, right?
Okay.
So here's where they do things a little different. So let me play this for you. This is typically when you go to a race, racetrack, and I grew up on the racetracks at Santa Anita, Hollywood Park, even Del Mar. That's what I did all the time, right?
Wow.
So I used to read the Daily Racing Inform at 5 years old. I was betting. I won my first pick six, which is you win 6 races in a row. I did that at 14 years old, paid $14,000. I saw nothing. My dad took all the money. I think he bought me a hot dog. Right?
Thanks, son.
Thanks, Dad. But anyway,
That's
really
great.
appreciate it. That's why we don't talk today. Anyway, so, well, one of the reasons. So anyway, when you
Oh, this show's going off the rails already. We just got
I've
started.
got daddy issues and I don't know what to do. Right? That's what we'll start with. So this is the typical thing you hear when you go to the track. You've probably heard this before. Right? You've heard this?
Yes, I have heard that before.
That's the call to the
in
post.
many old movies from the 1940s.
Right, so that's the guy that goes out there with the big old long bugle and he's wearing the red overcoat. Looks like he's from the British and he's invading the U.S. He's out there with his bugle and he's telling everybody, "Hey, jockeys in the paddock, get up on your horses, and it's time to come out to the track and get ready to do this thing."
Okay,
All
that's
right?
cool.
In Kentucky, it's kind of cool. They do that at the end, but they play this song every year. You'll hear this today if you watch the Kentucky Derby. I'm not going to play the whole song, but I'll play it. It's a real quick
Okay.
snippet.
Kentucky.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
Old Kentucky Home, right?
Yep.
So they'll have a group out there today that'll be like singing it, and they and it's just kind of cool, right?
I wish you could. If you're listening,
If you're watching,
you
you
need to watch the video of
Yeah.
what Ralph just did. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so
That's very good, actually.
it's kind of a couple traditions. It's the run for the roses, right? So in the horse that wins gets this big bed of roses over him. It's a cool traditional kind of race.
So, tell me about the hats.
Okay, well, women typically will wear this big fancy hat as part of the whole setup for today. So there's a few things that happen today. One is the hat. You get dressed up in these nice dresses. Guys wear these god awful suits with all these god awful colors and patterns,
Like the seersucker outfits,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
straw
yeah.
hats, like they're going to go to
Not-
Shakey's and
no,
play
no,
the banjo
No,
afterwards.
so no, this is not Dexy's Midnight Runners. This is not what this is, right? So we're not coming on Eileen at all. That's not what's going on here. I wish I had a snippet of that. I'd be playing that right now.
Oh my
It would have been
goodness!
perfect. No, but you have guys wearing suits with these really bad patterns on them, bad colors. You have women wearing these big fluffy, foofy dresses with these hats, typically arched to the side and stuck on their heads with glue or whatever they do to put them on their head. And then everybody has a mint julep in their hand.
What's a mint julep?
It's a really good question. So it's mint, sugar, bourbon, and crushed ice.
You had me at bourbon.
Well, it's Kentucky.
Now this is not like the mint juleps I used to get by the train station at Disneyland, because first
No.
of all, I was a minor getting those,
Right.
so I'm guessing they didn't have bourbon in them.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm cheated now. All this time I thought I was drinking authentic mint juleps, and it was a sham.
It was an absolute sham.
Well, now
Like
now that
most
I'm a
of us do.
grown up, I can have a real mint julep
You do every day
because
So-
because bourbon.
right. Is it a good drink? Absolutely not.
Yeah, right. Does
Mint and bourbon.
does it taste good? No, but it's a tradition.
Let's get some mint. Let's get some sugar. Let's put it in bourbon and make a drink and put a little leaf on it. So no, but you'll see everybody in the iron cups. They have these big iron cups that they use. They put that drink
interesting.
in there and they'll walk around with that, with their hats, with their poofy dresses, and it's a big party. It's a huge party that happens there. So that being said, they're saying that over 120,000 of those will be consumed today.
And that's just me.
That's a lot of drunk people.
That's a lot of drunk people.
That-
So is this basically one of those things where if you're poor, if it's trashy, if you're rich, it's classy?
You know, I guess if you probably go back into the 30s and the 40s and you look at this race, you probably could look at some of that and go, look at all those rich people celebrating this race with their dresses and hats and their drinking. Yeah, I never thought about that aspect of the race, but yeah, sure.
So what's the prize money for this race? How much does the winner
So
get?
typically the prize money is $3 million for the winner.
Oh, wow.
But this year, because it's the 150th running, they've upped it to $5 million. So it's the most they've ever paid for the winner of this race. Not to mention, they get this really nice trophy. It's 22 inches tall and it's real gold.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Okay.
kind of cool, right? So let's talk a couple of the things about the race. This is races for 3-year-olds. You know how we talk about, it's funny, like in sports, and we talk about classes of, this is the 2021 class and the 2022 class. Well, this is the 3-year-old class that started 3 years ago at different times in the year. And so they take all the 3-year-olds, they run them as 2-year-olds, they train them as 1-year-olds, they start running them as a little bit as 2-year-olds, and then as 3-year-olds, they get on the campaign to try to get to the Kentucky Derby, right?
Wow,
and
okay.
a bunch of them fall out, of course.
Sure.
And you're left typically with 20 horses that'll compete in the Kentucky Derby. So you have 23-year-olds that'll go at it today. And there's all these derbies at different parts of the country that kind of lead up to this, races and derbies. And so if you look today, you'll have a couple of the favorites. So Sierra Leone is one of them, who's I think was 2-1 at the start or 3-1 to start this morning, is 3-1. And then you have the Kentucky you have the Florida Derby winner Fierceness, who's also the favorite today. And then so those are your East Coast horses, right? And then you have a bunch of other guys sprinkled in. And then on the West Coast, where we're from, we had Santa Anita Derby, right? So we're really big on Santa Anita. Santa Anita Derby always has that horse that comes out. And the Santa Anita Derby winner has won 9 times, right?
Okay.
They've won the thing 9 times.
That's significant.
So this year, the Santa Anita Derby winner is a female. It's a filly. It's called Stronghold. And I kind of like Stronghold. I think she opened at 20-1 this morning. So she's kind of a long shot. But she could become only, I think, the 4th filly to win. We haven't had a filly win this race since 1988 was Winning Colors. Yeah, so there's only been 3 fillies that have ever won this race. Regret in 1950, Genuine Risk in 1980, and Winning Colors in 88. I saw 2 of those 3.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, that just means I'm old. So
Well, there's that.
there's that.
So so I know that what little I know about the sport, I know there's owners. Sometimes they're very famous people. Who's the most famous owner with a horse in the Derby this year?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I know that the most successful farm, so owners typically are farms. They have like names of
Okay.
So Calumet Farms is typically the very most popular, most successful ownership group that there is in the Kentucky Derby.
Okay. Interesting.
And so let me lead to this. We can talk about what Kentucky Derby is part of something called the Triple Crown.
Okay.
Right? So the Triple Crown is you win the Kentucky Derby, then in 2 weeks you have to go to Baltimore and win at Pimlico, right? You win the Preakness, which is the shorter race.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks after that, I think, and maybe 3 now, is the Belmont Stakes, and that's the longest of the races. And if you can win those 3 races, I think Visa gives you, I want to say it's $5 million for winning the Triple Crown, and that horse becomes famous. It's a Triple Crown winner. There's only been so many of them in our time. I've seen a couple. So in the late 70s, I don't know if you remember a horse back in Santa Anita named Affirmed.
Yes.
Jockey named Steve Coffin. Do you remember that?
Vaguely remember Affirmed.
So Affirmed was a Triple Crown winner. Spectacular Bid was a Triple Crown winner.
Yes.
Seattle Slew. I don't know if you remember
Seattle Slew.
Triple Crown winner. So I mean, these horses become very famous, and where you make money in horse racing, obviously after all these purses and stuff, is in breeding afterwards. So a lot of these horses go into breeding, and they basically make a ton of money for their offspring.
See, this is why I would not make money as a horse.
Because you don't know how to breed?
Well, no one would. Who would want to? I mean, they breed because obviously they want those genes, right? Like, I mean,
So nobody wants Neil genes.
No, well, they don't know what they're missing. But honestly, no. It's weird.
Amy, if you could text in and tell us what we're missing, we'd really appreciate that. Because I don't think it's much.
How many characters does a text hold? We'll find out very soon.
Wow. Okay.
So texting quite a bit. So
wait, go ahead. Let me give you a couple of stupid facts. Okay, so out of what post position? So post positions is what gate number do you think has won the most Kentucky Derbies?
So of all the this is
1 through 20.
Okay, 1 through 20. 5.
Yes.
Did
you just guess that?
I literally guessed.
Come on.
No, I guessed because thinking like a track, like you've got 1 through 20, you've got all the slots. See, this is ignorant me talking. You got the slots, right? And whenever you're racing, you want to be closer to the middle anyway, because that's generally, I don't know, like in track, they seed the higher runners in the middle and the weaker ones on the outside.
Okay.
So I kind of went inside. That was how my brain worked.
10 times number 5 is won.
Wow.
And that is the most of any.
I know you looked at me like you looked this up beforehand, didn't you? No, I literally guessed.
I'm kind of shocked that you knew that. I mean, that's just not something that.
That's just how my brain works.
Let's do this then, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Oh no. Now I'm going to miss this one.
A name starting with what letter has won the most Kentucky Derbies?
Oh, this one
19 times this letter.
I have a 1 in 26 chance. S.
Okay, see, now you're just pissing me off. So, this is garbage. Are you going to tell me you seriously didn't look these up?
I did not look them up.
Come on.
No, because, again, how my brain works.
You're sitting right in front of Jesus right now. Did you lie to me?
Most common letter. Okay, that was a weird thing for you to say. But, no, you said, in my brain it said Seattle Slew, and I started thinking, it was like, it just feels like there's a lot of S's, so I just said S. That's exactly how my brain worked. I did not look up anything.
I have to fire you for this now. You realize that. I know it's usually a weekly thing, but this is an absolute reason to get rid of you.
You're being fired for cause this week.
You're being fired for competence.
Competence. Oh, okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Okay, Smarty Pants, here's one more.
I'm going to miss this one for sure.
There's no horses that have ever won this race that start with 3 different letters.
Oh.
Give me the 3 letters. You get this right, and dude, the gun safe is opening up. I'm just telling you.
Oh, you're going to give me a gun?
No, I'll give it to you, all right.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice. I'll take a Glock. All right. Z.
No, Z has been a winner.
Oh, see, I've already messed up.
It's Q, X, and Y. There's never been a horse with the first letter of Q.
That
X,
makes
or Y.
perfect sense. What would you name? Have there been horses with an X? Like Xavier or
Yeah,
X?
Yeah, you can have X. I mean, if you look at some horse names, there's some weird stuff out there.
Well, there's some weird horse owners. Oh, by the way, so you're telling me that Jim Rome, who is
He owns a horse.
he dabbles in the ponies at times.
Right.
So his horse is not in this race.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, we got a shout out to Jim Rome, 1580 The Fanatic, weekdays from whatever time to whatever time. I forget his time. He's here though.
Jeez.
Oh, and okay, I have another question for you. Since this is Arizona's sports betting station, according
Yes.
to one of our promos, do you or are you willing to discuss any wagers that you've made on this race today?
I haven't made any yet.
Okay.
I'm just going to make probably one main wager. I'm going to put some money on Stronghold.
When's post time?
It's right around. It's before 3:00 our time,
Oh, okay.
so we have plenty of time. But yeah, I will definitely put some money on Stronghold because again, to me it's an East-West Coast thing, and I'm always going to be in favor of the Santa Anita Derby winner to go out there and see what they can do.
That's respectable.
And that's really the only reason I haven't dug into the racing form. I mean, if you really look at today's race, Fierceness is probably the class of the race with Sierra Leone probably second. So those are the two horses that should be there. But I'll tell you what, in the Derby, you just never know because when you've got 20 horses lined up, a lot can go on, especially at the start. The horses in the beginning, in the 1 or 2 gate, they get like trampled and pushed. And then the outside horses will typically try to make that charge and go all the way out and across, and they expel a lot of energy doing that. So it's all about positioning in horse racing. We could do that one day and talk about horse racing. I know a lot about it. I wanted to be a jockey. Problem is you don't have many 200-plus pound jockeys at my size, so horses would
What are
never
you,
survive.
6'1"?
6'1".
6'1", 200 plus. Yeah, you would be a very bad jockey.
Don't talk about my weight. I'm very sensitive about it.
No, you're not.
I'm not.
Good grief.
Yeah, I'm not at all.
I said 200 plus. I didn't say 350. They need to be sensitive about it. Good grief.
Anyway, so that happens today around 3 o'clock. I think it's a little bit before 3 o'clock. If you haven't had an opportunity to see a Kentucky Derby, turn it on and watch it. It's actually a really interesting event. It's one of the oldest sporting events in the U.S.
And if
Go for it.
you're so inclined to put some money on the ponies and not want to do it from your app, you can always go over to. There's a ton of places here in the Valley. What they call them, parimutuels, or what do they call them, where you can bet on horses?
Off-track betting?
Off-track, yeah, they call parimutuel. With that, now I'm like 80 years old. But yeah, there's a lot of off-track betting spots like Padre Murphy's.
Do they do off-track betting?
Yes, they do.
I didn't
They're
know
very big into that. And there's a couple other places that have it. But yeah, so get involved.
When we get back from the break, I just want to briefly touch on Matt Ishbia from the Suns, and then we're going to talk about your
Chase Field
your
visit?
visit to Chase Field. I want to hear all about what you did and how it was.
Aw.
So we'll talk about that stuff on the other side of the break. This is the Weekend Warriors on 1580, The Fanatic. It's the Weekend Warriors on 1580, The Fanatic.
Wow, that bumper music, that's a banger. I like that.
Okay. What is that?
Who picks? I don't know. It's a banger. Sounds
It threw me off.
Sounds like something I would hear like walking down 6th Street or something like that in Austin, Texas.
Oh.
It's kind of cool. Anyway,
All right, so real quick, I want to talk about Matt Ishbia. So we all know what happened to the Suns. They got swept. They got swept, and the Lakers didn't. But anyway, not that I'm proud of what the
by
Lakers did.
one game.
But there's some stuff that came out about what's going on over at the Suns. A source is saying that Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Suns, has no idea what he's doing when it comes to basketball. They're saying it looks a lot like Looney Tunes around here. It feels unstable since he's arrived.
Yeah, but I like Looney Tunes.
Yeah, well, do you?
Oh, I love them.
You like that?
I do, man. That's all, folks.
All right, well, there
You're
we
welcome.
Go. That's from I got that piped. I piped into the Suns headquarters and I was hearing that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I thought I heard that when I was over by the Footprint Center a couple days ago. So yeah.
It's a guy that said he's a good guy. He's a good guy in everything. I think he's just very involved, too involved. I know he played college basketball at Michigan State, but I'd venture to say he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to basketball. Yet he's making a lot of the big decisions. Sounds a lot like Jerry Jones.
Yeah, I think so.
Right? I mean, it kind of does.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we all know. Yeah, we've seen the impact of a bad or a toxic owner on an organization. Copyright Al Davis.
Right.
Copyright Jerry Jones. Copyright Glenn Taylor. I'm picking on the Minnesota Timberwolves right now.
The guy that owns the Carolina Panthers.
That guy, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, so I thought it was interesting that came out. Now, is it true or not? I have no idea, but he's put a lot of money into that team, and they've kind of painted themselves into a corner right now with what they can do going forward. You know, a lot of people are saying they should trade KD, which I think may make the most sense for them to trade him and see what they can do as far as picks and things, but you know, when you get for him. Because right now you're in a position where you can't do much having those three guys. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction they go, but I just thought it was an interesting take to hear that he might be another Jerry Jones, or he just might be a little bit too involved in stuff where he just needs to let the people he's hired do their job.
So speaking of ownership issues, you, Mr. diehard Lakers fan to this day.
Yes.
I was a Lakers fan until the early 90s, and I just stopped following the NBA in general.
Okay.
So as much as I love the organization, I have a memory. I love a memory of them from the past, so I have no vested interest in them now. Not unlike you,
Right.
who worships the ground they walk on, etc.
Not true, but go ahead.
What do you think of them firing the entire coaching staff yesterday?
I think I knew it was going to happen. I think it was game 4 when LeBron threw a hissy fit because Darvin Ham wouldn't call for a review of a play. I was an outball player, whatever it was, and I saw him just start fighting with Darvin Ham. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, this guy's gone. Because here's the problem. It's hard to be the head coach of a LeBron James coach team because his ego is so big and he's got, you know, all this juice because of who he is.
Yeah.
If you don't get along with him, you're not long for the job. And I don't think ownership is on his side in a sense.
Oh, 100%.
It reminds me of the 80s when Magic was there and Westphal was doing what he was doing, and Magic basically said, trade me or get rid of this guy.
Yep.
And
they got rid of this guy.
And they
yeah.
got rid of him, right? So which is a good move because Pat Riley came in.
Right.
But yeah, I think he's got a lot of that syndrome going on. So I think Darvin Ham wasn't going to work there. I still think he's a good coach. I think he could be a good fit in Phoenix. I do think he's a good coach. I'm not sure what a good fit in LA is right now until LeBron's gone. I just don't know.
Yeah. Phil Jackson is only going to be alive so much longer. So it's like he's the only. So at least in recent history, he's the only head coach who's able to handle superstars.
Right.
To that degree.
Right.
I can't think of any. Well, I mean, I'm sure there are, and there's a lot of basketball heads out there who are screaming at me for my ignorance. But like, I can't think of anybody high profile right now who could take that job tomorrow and be successful.
I don't know that anybody would want it right now.
Well, there's that too.
Only because of that what we're talking about. That's a tough job. That's a tough job. But I mean, it's a job. It's a demanding job too because you know how us LA fans are, right? We want championships every year.
Yes.
Right. And if we're not close to one every year, we have a problem. So when we get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs 2 years in a row, that's not going to work.
Correct.
So something's got to change. Obviously, the coaching staff did. We'll have to see what happens as far as who they find to come in and be the coach and how that dynamic's going to work with LeBron. It's not going to be easy. So anyway, let's talk about your visit to the park. So I was thinking I'm gonna play this too real quick. Do you remember all this stuff? Do you remember Nancy B?
No.
Do you remember Helen Dell?
Yes.
So
yeah, the Dodgers organist.
Right. So those are both Dodger organists. Like Nancy B. Helen Dell started in '72. She left in '88, and then Nancy B. took over from '88 to 2015. So I remember you'd go to Dodger Stadium and you'd hear that wonderful organ going on.
Well, Dodger Stadium, like the National League teams only had organs.
Yes.
They didn't play music over the PA. I think the American League started. I think it was the Seattle Mariners actually who started doing that. And it took off in the rest. I actually read something a while back about how PA music evolved because before that, and I don't remember like growing up as a Dodger fan, this was all I heard.
That's it.
Helen Dell and the Dodger organ. That's it.
Helen Dell or Nancy B. is who you heard growing up, right? I'm just leaving the background.
Who was the PA announcer?
I don't remember
during
his
that
name.
time. Pete Arbogast.
That's right, Pete Arbogast.
He was
That's
on.
right.
He was also on KNX News Radio. Anyway,
That's right.
the guy is Jeff Zeist, I think. Or Zeist is the guy who does it now, who I really like, by the way. But,
So when you went to Chase Field
yes.
and you got we'll talk about your experience. Did you hear stuff like this?
So they did have an organist play a few times, but not even to the extent that they do it. Like Dodger Stadium, the organist likes to play during the at-bats.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that, but not to the extent that I've heard other places. So as far as the visit goes, so now for full disclosure, I've been to Chase Field before a couple of times. My first visit, I want to wait for this. Dun 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 dun.
I love
No, you're Los Angeles. Never mind.
Nancy B.
Yeah, so I went to Chase Field to watch the Diamondbacks Padres game, and I think it was 2021, which was my first visit here to the Phoenix area when my wife and I were scouting for places to live. So I just remember, well, it was two things. First of all, it was like the week before they lifted all the COVID restrictions, so we still had to like sit apart from each other and all that crazy stuff and wear masks, which first of all nobody was doing there that day. Also, I remember distinctly that there was about 90% of the fans there were Padres fans and not Diamondbacks fans. So that seems to be one trend that I see.
That's an Arizona sports trend, unfortunately.
Yeah. So my visit there. So my wife and I decided to go to all 3 games of the series, which, by the way, sounds wonderful. It is exhausting. Okay. I don't know. It's just, I don't know what it is. But so we also decided to take the light rail. So we live west of 17. So we're pretty close to the Metro Parkway station where they just extended the light rail.
Right.
So we drove there. It was super easy, by the way. $8 for both of us round trip. Okay. So took the light rail. It obviously, you're trading time for money because it takes a lot longer to get there. Obviously, sometimes with traffic, it kind of closes the gap a little bit. But it was nice. But the nice thing about the light rail, it literally drops you right off in front of the stadium. Well, it drops you off in front of 2 bars that are next to the stadium,
which is perfect for you.
Oh well, you
need to be in front of a bar.
I did go to the bar. It was Crown Public House was where I went the first day.
Yeah, I saw your TikTok from there.
Yeah. The second day we didn't do that. We went to Guy Fieri's DT PHX restaurant right next to the stadium. If you want to buy a $30 margarita, that's the place to go. It's.
I can't think of anything else I'd rather spend $30 on a margarita.
That is insane, right? We did it once just to say we did it, right?
And was it good?
I had a little bit. It was pretty good. It was kind of sugary.
Was it $30 worth?
No. There's no, unless it had gold flakes in it or platinum flakes. There's no way I'm going to drink that. That's stupid. So, and then the third day we decided we didn't go early enough to we just got there in time for the announcements and stuff. So we ate at a Red Robin before we went there, so it was great. And we spent as much at Red Robin with full dinner, couple of drinks each, than we did for like one drink at someplace else. It was great.
So tell me, how did the fans treat you? Because I saw that you were decked out in Dodger gear. Now, I also saw that, and you can confirm this, it looked like about a 75-25 Dodger fan.
It was about an 80-20.
80-20 Dodger fan. So there's a lot of Dodger fans there.
So I will, so general takes. The Arizona fans are generally respectful. I didn't receive any negative comments towards me.
Okay.
In fact, 2 different Diamondback staff members came up to me on the sly to admire my Steve Garvey jersey because they're old school, and they both admitted they're both from Southern California. They both love the Dodgers, but they can't talk about it. So that was pretty funny. I mean, literally, I had someone come up to me.
We can't talk about it.
Yeah, well, because they get ridiculed by. And listen, it's a paycheck, right? Like it's not worth that. But they were like secret, like hush hush, like we go Dodgers, but we can't say that publicly because we're wearing Diamondback stuff right now.
So I get that.
But
so
that was fun.
The fans treated you well.
Fans treated well. Did
you treat the fans well?
Oh, 100%. I'm not that kind of person, man. But it was funny. There was and my second night there during the B thing once the game started. The one problem with that whole thing. So. If you know about by now, if you don't know about the B episode, you're not paying attention. Yeah. But during that 2-hour delay, the concessions were still going strong. So there were a lot of drunk people by the time the game started. And there was one guy a couple rows behind me who was being so obnoxious that security showed up, and it was a Dodger fan. So I'm like, great guys, thanks for perpetuating.
So Dodger fans were more rowdy than Diamondback fans?
100%. And I think that's the perception, right? Because I've talked to a lot of Diamondbacks fans who are surprised that I'm not an idiot or a jerk.
Surprised you're not an idiot?
Well, they're surprised I'm not a jerk.
Oh, because you were wearing Dodger gear.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought because they watched the show. Okay, I understand.
Oh no.
No, it had nothing to do with that.
That's a whole separate story.
Okay.
These ones did know about the show, but yeah. So I feel like it was. So I was well received. There was no animosity. There wasn't fights. It wasn't like going to a Dodgers Giants game where people get beat down in the parking lot.
Those are
yeah. It wasn't like that. That's not the vibe, not the energy. The only time you hear any kind of tension is of course there are so many Dodger fans there that during rallies you hear "Let's go Dodgers," and it must be humiliating to be in your own ballpark when you strike out and hear the fans cheering. That's got to be the worst feeling ever. Right. And like when they're showing fans on the jumbotron, I wonder how often they have to like recycle fans because there are so few there. It's like they're very intentional. They don't show Dodger fans primarily. Sometimes they're in the background, but when they're showing people in the stands, they're just going. Obviously, they're just showing the Diamondbacks fans, but they have to they start recycling after a while because there's so few of them that they can videotape.
It's honestly, all kidding aside, it's honestly a shame how that works here because if you go
100%.
to a Cardinal game, a Diamondback game, and you have a team like LA in town or another like a Cubs or whatever, it is so dominated by the visiting fans. It's just kind of demoralizing as a local fan because it's like being at a visitor's game. It just is.
Yeah, but I do feel like that the Diamondbacks fans. They understand and accept that, even though they don't like
I would
it.
Never accept. Like, imagine going to Dodger Stadium and seeing that.
That would be horrific.
That just wouldn't happen.
That would be awful. And I've heard plenty of fans from other teams, like especially when it's the Padres or the Giants, right? You hear a lot of fans, but not to the degree it is here. Like it's not at worst case scenario, it might be 50-50, but it's 80-20 here.
So let me tell you my one problem with you at the games this week.
What's your one problem?
We talked about this last week.
What's that?
And you ignored me.
Yes.
I told you last week, do not say where you're sitting.
And I did.
You absolutely did.
Yeah.
You put it out there in your TikToks. When you did your videos, you were showing your section right behind you.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Well, you know how many people came up and talked to me?
How many?
0.
Well, that's good.
Not a soul.
That's good.
Now, I said what section I was sitting in, but it's really hard to narrow it down.
I figured out when you were in section 203, I knew exactly where you were in the club section just by looking at your TikTok.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing I didn't realize, too. Chase Field has some sneaky good stuff going on for it. So I haven't been to a ton of Major League stadiums. I got to go to the Kingdome when Ken Griffey Jr. was playing way back in the day. That was cool. Obviously, a lot of Dodger Stadium. I've been to Target Field in Minneapolis quite a bit. One or two other ballparks here and there. So I don't have a ton of experience, but from what I understand, like the everything about like people are complaining, or at least the Diamondbacks are complaining that the stadium is a little bit outdated, and it might very well be, but it had some really the sight lines are really good. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like there's that bad of a seat in the house unless even if you're way up in the 300s, at the very top of the when the satellites are grazing the top of your head, whatever. But it wasn't that. The roof open is spectacular. They had the roof and they had the flaps open in the outfield.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It was
gets good airflow going in there.
Gorgeous. Yeah, it was fantastic. They have a lot of good food options. I thought maybe not the best variety, but they had a decent variety, and they have a lot of special places for certain types of seats. So, like in the 200 section, you have access to the BMW Club, which it's just a kind of a nice closed off concession stand area, whatever, right? But that's kind of cool. That makes for a nice experience. The seats are even like up in the 200s, the seats are even angled towards home plate. They're not like if you're sitting out like way down the first base line, you're not looking straight at the outfield. They actually have the seats angled towards the infield. So little thoughts like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think that stadium's nice.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people bag on it. I think it's a nice stadium. I think it's a nice experience. But you know what? Unless you've been to a place like Chavez Ravine and Dodger Stadium, there's something special about being at Dodger Stadium. The history, the aura it represents, it's so different. It feels like old-time baseball, too, just with the whole setting, the organs and everything else. I mean, they still keep that stuff going. It's such a different experience than a place like Target Field that I've been to or Chase Field or a couple other places I've been to. There's nothing, and I'm not even saying it as a Dodger fan. I'm saying it as a baseball purist. It's just a better experience. I don't know if you agree or not, but that's what I say.
Dodger Stadium is, to me, in the same level as like Lambeau Field.
Okay, I've never been there, but
it may not be your favorite stadium, and it may be a little dated. Obviously, the renovations have been spectacular, especially putting all the renovations in behind the outfield bleachers, and then now actually connecting the entire stadium. because when we were going there, you were either in the outfield bleachers or you were in the stadium. You
Yeah.
couldn't cross
You
over.
couldn't cross over. I
And
remember
now
that.
you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
They used to
agree.
segregate us out there. I remember that.
Yeah, well, when they had the all-you-can-eat right field pavilion for a couple years,
That should be
yeah,
segregated.
it was a good thing we were segregated. So no, to me personally, I feel like that. Obviously, Dodger Stadium, third oldest stadium in the major leagues. Looks like it was built yesterday.
It does.
It is a little dated in some things, especially like if you're in the stadium club. If you're a snob like me and you get tickets and go sit in the stadium club. You can tell it wasn't built for that. Like Target Field, huge sight lines, big
Right.
giant windows, that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah. But I agree. I think Dodger Stadium is an iconic stadium from a historical perspective, as well as just a fan viewing experience.
And for your money, you will never see as many good fights here as you will at Dodger Stadium.
Well, especially when it's the Giants, and not only in the stands, but in the parking lot as well.
And still, best parking lot in the world, Dodger Stadium.
Oh, that's true.
The
100%.
best by far.
100% agree.
I love that experience. Plus, you got the police academy right there too, which is kind of interesting.
Which means
and you
nothing.
go down the hill and you can see bodies on the park. Anyway,
That's true.
so after the break, we'll get into our grab bag. We have some topics we're going to get into, a couple of fun things, and whatever else we want to talk about. So it's Weekend Warriors on 1580 The Fanatic. It's Weekend Warriors on 1580 The Fanatic.
We should just groove to this. This bumper music today has been on. This has been what the kids say, straight fire. This bumper music, straight fire.
You're such a groovy old dude.
Let him cook. Anyway,
Let them cook. All right, so now it's time for.
why is it so quiet?
Got it really quiet.
Grab bag. What is this?
It's our grab bag.
What was that like? Like
Here, I'm doing it one more time.
yeah.
It's a grab bag, all right? Get past it already.
Wow.
Don't make me get violent.
We're just hitting all the notes. No pun intended on
No
music
pun
today.
intended.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
We
all
are
right.
different today.
So let's talk a little bit about the college softball season. It's wrapping up. This is the final weekend of the regular season.
Okay.
The conference tournaments are going to start next week that will decide who gets to go to the Women's College World Series, which is held every year in Oklahoma City. Of local interest, of course, is UCLA was playing Arizona State, and they're here in town this weekend. I might actually try to go to a game either later today or tomorrow. But yesterday, Greenway High School's phenom, Caitlin Terry, was the starting pitcher, and she's just had a fantastic season. She's 14-1 this year. She's a freshman. She's pitching Division I, and she's 14-1.
Wow.
She pitched a complete game yesterday, 7 innings, obviously, only allowed 2 hits, 6 Ks. She's blowing up this year. It's been a fantastic season for her and for UCLA. Probably not playing as quite the level that they should, but listen, all you got to do is get in the tournament and have a chance. They are 32-10 on the season so far. They beat Arizona State yesterday 4-2, and there's a game today at 5 and a game probably at noon or 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Cool.
Arizona State, however, has not been doing so good. They are 19-28. So we have something to say about Arizona State.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh, no, we really don't.
We really don't?
We really don't.
We don't have anything to say about Arizona State?
Well, I mean, we kind of could.
Well,
if
if you can find the sound
if
file.
you would actually tell me these things beforehand,
Well, I thought you were
we could actually look more professional.
I
and
thought
can
you were
have it
smart
ready.
enough to pick it up, but boy, that clip sounds horrible. Right. What the beep is a Sun Devil. Thank you, Ralph. All right.
Thanks for setting me up there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was we could have talked about it earlier, but I figured you were smarter than that. But that's fine. All right. So
Wow.
So anyway, look for that. It's going to be a good series. A lot of good college softball. If you're not watching Division I women's college softball, this predates all the stuff with Caitlin Clark and everything.
My gosh.
I've been a huge softball fan forever, as you know. I actually coached
Yep.
For
You're wearing your
several-
little thingy right now. Your little hat.
I'm wearing my Midwest Speed. Shout out to Sean Hall and Jeremy Shell of
Your
Midwest
thingy.
Speed.
Yeah.
My Yana friends. Anyway, so so that's all I got today. What do you got?
So I want to go to the text line real quick because we do have some text. So Hefty Lefty, just have to go back a little bit. Talking about Santa Anita, he says, my favorite memory of Santa Anita was my high school graduation. Other than that, it just caused daily traffic jams around the house.
That's so.
I didn't realize
that
you lived out that way.
That
That's
is
interesting.
so L.A.
Yeah, that is LA. Randy White is on the text line, and I know we were probably talking Dodgers, and all he said was, come on, man, because he doesn't like the fact that we were probably talking about how Dodger Stadium was so much better. And then Pinocchio is on the text line, same Dodger topic, says, hey, Dodger Dog ain't no Fenway Frank, just saying. I've never had a Fenway Frank, but I can tell you the Dodger Dogs are amazing.
So the Dodger Dogs were even more amazing when it was Farmer John. Strictly fresh, Eastern corn-fed pork. I've had a Fenway Frank.
You have.
And I would say that I can't tell the difference. I feel like that stadium hot dogs are kind of like In-N-Out Burger. It's not the absolute best meal ever created, but there's a lot of nostalgia to it, and I think that's what happens. So no shame on the Fenway Frank. Like I said, I've had it because I have one. That's one of the places I've actually visited is Fenway Park.
So I've never had one, but I will just tell you the Dodger Dogs of every stadium that I've been in, and I've been in probably about 7 or 8, Dodger Dog blows them all away.
Well, this is why you go to the stadium club for dinner before the game, is because it's a buffet, and one of the stations is unlimited Dodger Dogs. So good.
So good.
Anyway.
All right, so back to the grab bag. I do have some bad news for you.
Okay.
And I don't know how you're going to take this, so I got to be very careful. I've got
I'm ready.
a doctor standing by and a white coat next to him. So,
What?
just in
I have
case.
we have a rubber room.
We have a
ready for
rubber
you.
room set up for you. So,
All right.
Caleb Williams broke the Fanatic record for draft merchandise sold for any draft pick in any sport. He beat the previous record set by Caitlin Clark. So he sold more jerseys on draft night than your ex-girlfriend Caitlin Clark.
So that to me, like, that just screams optimism from the Bears fan base. Like, obviously there's a lot of USC people who are following as well, but that's significant, right?
Yeah.
I think the Bear, like, whatever they tell you, they may try to act humble, but I think the Bears absolutely believe that Caleb is the answer. So,
well, I think we all do.
I hope they don't get disappointed, but early signs, I mean, listen, that's a good metric as jersey sales.
But are you okay?
I'm okay.
Are you sure? Well, because he broke her record. I want to make sure you're okay. Are you okay?
My goodness. Yes, I'm fine.
All right,
now.
you guys can go. He's all right. Well, wait, one more thing. Hold on. Don't leave yet. So, because you saw that the preseason of WNBA started yesterday, and that Caitlin Clark, did like 21 points, and she had a great game in that first game. Did you watch that game?
I did not watch.
You
the game.
didn't. You can go.
I watched
You didn't
highlights
watch
on
it.
TikTok, but I didn't watch.
I'm
the game.
shocked that you weren't at home in your pajamas, cuddled
In
up
my-
with some
in my
popcorn,
Indiana fever.
watching that. Yeah.
My Indiana fever pillow.
Are you going to get your Caitlin tattoo removed? I'm not saying where it is.
If I had a tattoo, I would remove it.
Okay,
yes.
Amy, if you can just validate that he does have one and where it is, that'll make me feel better because I know he does. All right. Anyway,
Wow.
this is kind of cool. I don't know if you've kind of seen this stuff. Have you ever heard of Keon Coleman?
No.
So Keon Coleman is like my new favorite guy. I love this guy. He was.
Well, I like Keon Rose.
No,
The same person?
Keon Rose is all right, but Keon Coleman blows
whatever.
him away. So Keon Coleman
What?
was the Bills' #1 draft pick. He's a wide receiver out of FSU. This guy has the most awesome personality. I love this guy. You've got to listen to this guy. He did his introductory presser. I'm going to play a clip from it.
Okay.
And he's had a couple other press stuff that he's done. I don't have those, but go look this guy up on the internet. He is a funny dude. Listen to this.
Nah, man, you forgot I went to school in Michigan for 2 years? Guess where I got this from, though? That's what I'm saying. You got to guess. You
Talking
could be
about a
wrong,
jacket.
But guess. Nah. Macy's. What you mean? They be on sale on the rack. All the colors. Look, $79, $89. Nice little deal. You can get the trench coat for like $100. Nice little. I'll take you there personally.
So he's a
See, I ain't lying
fashionista. Like
about
I
Thanksgiving. I get. You see, I shop like my mom. I get my coats in the summertime. You gotta shop a season or two before, just in case, and they be cheaper. Cause you go at Thanksgiving, everybody in Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying?
He walks into the press conference, right? He sees a bunch of cookies in the corner. He's like, hey, cookies, you got cookies. Can I have some cookies? And so he goes up there. He's talking about this big puffy yellow jacket he has on, and he's talking about the fact that he used to play at Michigan State. He bought this jacket back then, and then he's going to buy some more stuff now. And he's a smart guy. His mom taught him right. And at the end, he went and go grab some cookies, and he walked out. He's a funny dude. If he plays as funny as he is, he's going to be amazing. So look at this guy. Look up on the internet, Keon Coleman. Really, really great personality.
Well,
I love this kid.
He sounds like he's a lot of fun. I hope he doesn't get jaded by the league.
I don't think he will. I think he can care less, dude. He's just having a good time and enjoying life.
Well, that kind of reminds me of John Randall from the Minnesota Vikings.
I remember John Randall.
Like even years afterwards, he's just like, I'm just a country boy from the South, right? Like he's super humble, a little introverted actually, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah,
being his persona when he was during his playing days was the complete opposite.
Yeah,
I mean this is a guy who would read the press guide for the opposing team and like spit facts about them when he was on the line. Is like, hey, quarterback, you have a wife and kids. They look really cute. Like, just try to get in their head and stuff. He was really bad like that, but he was also good, and he's a Hall of Famer.
All right. I'm going to go back into the bag and grab something else.
What do you got?
Andy Pages.
Andy Pages?
Andy Pages.
Pothead?
Oh, my gosh.
Pages. Okay.
From the Dodgers.
My
Rookie.
favorite Cuban.
So, last night, he went 4 for 5. He had the game-winning hit. He's on fire. He's batting .333. He's got a 9-game hitting streak out of 15 games that he's played. He's got 12 games where he's gotten hits out of the 15 games. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, 20 hits. He's the early front runner for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So just another one of these guys that the Dodgers go and find. This kid's a stud.
Right.
Absolute stud.
And they didn't have to pay him $700 million either.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, on Wednesday night, your boy Ohtani got benched.
He wasn't benched. It was actually a day of rest. Because he was getting 2 straight days off because they didn't play till Friday. So they were giving him his first break of the season.
Based on how he played the whole series of the Diamondbacks, he got benched.
Oh, my gosh.
He got benched.
I think I need you to come back because this guy's nuts.
Listen.
All right.
Listen, I get it. He has one of the top OPSs, one of the top batting averages, yada, yada, yada. But when we've got the bases juiced and you can't even eke out a single,
Stuff happens,
he's
man.
done that several times.
Have you ever played professional
He
baseball?
chokes. Oh, we're going to go to that route.
Have you ever done-
played that? Then you should
Have you ever done this?
Have you? No,
not
I
easy.
haven't. I haven't done. Yes,
It's not easy.
It is the hardest thing in sports is to hit a round bat with a round ball. So there you go. You know who said that?
Who?
Ted Williams.
All right, well, he's dead. Anyway, so opposite of Andy Pages,
Okay.
let's talk Corbin Carroll. So you're at the Diamondback games.
Yes.
Corbin Carroll, who's been a stud, he was rookie of the year last year. He looks horrendous.
Yes.
He's batting like a $180, $190.
Yeah. Well, we see he's now at the bottom of the lineup.
What's going on with Corbin Carroll?
That I don't know for sure. Although I will say that having seen him in person, his defense is still pretty good. He had a couple of good catches, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, is it like sophomore jitters? Like, what do you think?
Well, here's my analysis. I think what's going on is the pitchers have done enough work on this guy to realize that his weakest point is pitching him up and in. And if you look, that's how they're attacking him now. And he's struggling.
Oh,
to
so
hit
they
that.
got a year of tape on him, so now they
Right.
can pick
So they
his
got a year of
tendencies.
tape on him, year and a half of tape on him. They started going after his weakness, and he hasn't been able to make the adjustment. Hence, a $180 or $190, whatever he's batting. He looks horrendous. Some people are actually saying he needs to go back down to Reno to go work on it and come back up. I disagree with that.
I don't think he's that bad.
This is rookie of the year. He's been away from that stuff for a while now. He just needs to work at it and figure it out here. Have some good batting practice sessions, things like that. You don't drop a guy down after the kind of years he's had.
You know who I would send down to AAA right now?
Who?
Ohtani. just to humble him a little bit.
Humble him? Why? Because he's batting .340 and he's leading the league in
I'm
almost
just-
every category.
You know,
Mookie Betts, you need to go play A ball.
That's right,
How
that's
dare
right.
you bat .375? Get out of here.
yeah, Mookie, you're done. Go. No, actually, the problem with Mookie is that he's good at every sport he plays.
Yeah, I heard he's gotten. He was talking about this yesterday on the game. He's really into pickleball now. Apparently,
Yes, he is.
I know
I
that.
actually saw him. I'm thinking now maybe Amy and I witnessed his love for pickleball flourishing because he played over at Chicken and Pickle after a spring training
chicken
game.
and pickle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they serve chicken while you play pickleball.
Something like that.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
just curious. I've never heard of it. I'm asking.
It's
Don't
in
look at me
Westgate.
like that.
It's
I'm
right. It's
asking
right next
questions.
to State Farm Stadium.
I'm trying
How
to
have you
get
not-
educated from your knowledge, and you're giving me a look like I used to be a girl that you dated at some point. that didn't work out, which was most of your experience.
You're prettier than many of the girls I dated.
Which
so I don't
says
think
a
I
lot
would've
about
done
the
that.
girls you were dating.
Whatever, that's fine.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty good looking, but come on. So anyway, yeah,
Anyway.
I know you said that you saw him there during spring training, and
Yeah.
he's good at whatever he does.
That's true.
Anyway,
So hey,
That's our grab bag.
That's our grab bag. Well, that's our show for today. So hey, let's continue this conversation on social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, Twitter is it Twitter or X? I'm going to call Twitter for the rest of my life. I don't care.
that's very rebellious.
I know. I'm very rebellious to me. So yeah, and by the way, if you're listening, stay tuned. Right after us is Without Interruption with the
No.
greatest sports,
Without interruption, comma, Keon Rose.
the greatest broadcaster in the history of the Fanatic, Keon Rose.
We'll see you next week. This is the Weekend Warriors on 1580, The Fanatic.
Love you, Keon.
Me too.